Hi guys, welcome to week 8 of your Indonesian lessons. This week's lesson isn't a language lesson. This week's lesson is a cultural lesson. We are looking at Indonesian cuisine, so your lesson today is all about an insight into Indonesian cuisine. So, our learning focus today is we are learning about the unique cuisine eaten in Indonesia, and we are learning to reflect on those foods in Indonesia and think about the similarities and differences the food is to Australian food and the places that we eat. Our success criteria today is I can reflect on the different foods from Indonesia and make comparisons with food that we have here in Australia or that I've tried before in other places. And I can think about the foods I might like to try. I can make a connection to foods that we eat in Australia and the foods that I've seen in the past, and I can reflect on the restaurants in Indonesia and reflect on things that have left me asking questions about Indonesian food. So today's task. Today you'll be watching a clip from Mark Wines. He's a traveller and food aficionado. He travels all around the world and tries different foods and visits wonderful places. So he is travelling to a place called Ubud, which is quite close to my heart. I love Ubud. It's beautiful. It's got a monkey forest up there and some beautiful shrines. So I want you to think about a time when you travelled somewhere and tried something different, and try and make a connection with Mark's reactions to him eating the different foods, maybe how you remember feeling when you tried certain foods. After you've watched the clip, we're going to set up a page in our Indonesian book and we're going to focus on some questions. Now, the bottom questions here are some questions you can think about while you're watching the clip. When you watch the clip, you can watch it for 7 minutes, you can watch it for 10 minutes, you can watch it till the end. It is up to you, just as long as you get a taste of the different foods and the different culture found in Ubud. Now the focus questions are today, what looked interesting and what food would you give a try? Were there any dishes that reminded you of food that we eat here in Australia? And what are the similarities and differences in Indonesia with their foods compared to Australia? And did you notice anything about restaurants in Ubud? Today your heading is reflecting on Indonesian cuisine. That's your heading. And you're going to have subheadings, and I'll show you that in the next slide. Your subheadings will be what were my wonderings, so wonderings. What piqued your interest, the word interest. What connections did you make to the food found in Ubud, connections. And what would you try or even visit if you visited Ubud? So the next slide is an example of what your task will look like today. You can see I've got the heading, reflecting on Indonesian cuisine, and in the 4 quarters, I've got what were my wonderings, what was interesting, what connections would I make, and what would I try. You can see there I've said luar sapi. If you listen very carefully to the first dish that we see in the clip, it's called luar sapi and it's beautiful. It looks different, but it's a really delicious dish. And my reflection was that I would love to try this meal because I love beef, so I would expect that I would love it. So I want you to think about what would you try. What wonderings do you still have? So what questions do you still have about the food in Indonesia? What did you find interesting? And what connections can you make to the food? Good luck with your task today, and I hope you enjoy the video. I love seeing cultural videos. Sampai jumpa.